So I'm going to go ahead and get started this evening. Welcome. Thank you for spending your evening with us. I'm Kim Curtis with the Grandview Chamber, and we're happy to be hosting tonight's local candidates forum. First time we've ever done it via this medium. Usually we're getting together in person, and it's still just not quite safe enough to do that yet, even though we're working our way back to recovery. So thank you all for being here this evening. And I would like to turn it over to our moderator, Mary Wilson, who is also editor of the Jackson County Advocate newspaper and almost newlywed. Later this week, she'll be a newlywed. So congrats, Mary.
Thank you, Kim. Good evening, everyone. As she said, my name is Mary Wilson, soon to be Mary King as of Saturday. I am happy to be here tonight. Would have definitely like to do this in person with everyone, but you know, we will make do with what we have. Before I get into the details about this evening, I would like to just introduce our mayor, Mayor Leonard Jones, and our city administrator, Jamal Gungor, are both here. And Mayor Jones, I will give it to you here for a minute.
Well, thank you, Mary, and welcome everyone. We are grateful that we have this opportunity to do a candidates forum. I think this is always a great thing that we need to do during elections so that everybody has an opportunity to meet the candidates. So thank you to the chamber, to Kim, Kimberly, and Sharon. I really do appreciate that. And thank you to Mary for being a volunteer. And I'm sure that this will continue after you say I do. So we're looking forward to the future for sure. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jamal, would you like to say a couple words?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, not necessarily. Mayor said it all. If there are any city-related operational questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I am not running for office, and I will not run. Make sure that this is recorded.
Perfect. Good to see you both this evening.
Before
we get started, a little housekeeping for you all, just so you know what to expect with the evening. Each of our candidates will have 6 minutes to introduce themselves and talk about their background and why they're running and all that good stuff that you're here for. Kimberly Mosley will be our timekeeper for the evening, and she will keep our candidates in line on their time for their responses to everything. And then after each candidate introduces themselves, we will have some time for some questions. So a few questions have already been submitted, but if you have any questions and if you come up with anything while the candidates are speaking, please feel free to put those in the chat, and then we will read through those later on. So without further ado, we're going to start with Ward 1. Each candidate will be introduced alphabetically. And so, Debbie Bibbs, you are up.
Hello, my name is Debbie Bibbs. I'm a mother of 2 children and a resident of Grandview, Missouri. I have been a homeowner in the Fountain Home Association for over 39 years. I worked at Butler Manufacturing Company for 23 years as a cost accountant. Upon leaving Butler, I focused my entrepreneur efforts in cosmetology and barbering by opening a salon and pursuing a career in home health care. I served as president of the Fountains Home Association for 8 years and was a board member for 9 years. I'm a former alderman of Grandview, Missouri, a member of the Grandview Historical Society, member of NAACP, and an active member of my church, Sheffield Family Life Center, for over 20 years. I'm running to serve this community with profound leadership, honesty, and integrity. I love service. I was president of my home association, just like I said, for 8 years. I have a background in home health care, and I serve the city of Grandview alderman. Do I have more time?
Oh, yeah.
My First priority would be to concentrate on improving basic city service, such as cleaning up trash, weeds, and litter, which appear to have worsened in recent years in some parts of the city. What else do I need? Is that it, or?
We'll let you know when your time's getting up to a minute, so you can just keep going.
Okay.
You don't have to. It's not required. We just give you up to that amount of time.
I'm through. I'm finished.
Okay.
No problem. Our next candidate for Alderman Ward 1 is Tom McBride.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Kim. I'm Tom McBride. I am your next alderman for Ward 1. I think you should know some history about me. I come from a small town in Kansas, El Dorado, which is a small town much like Grandview. I grew up there and started my first construction company, after which I estimated and managed commercial projects nationwide for 13 years with a Wichita contractor named the Law Company. After my tenure with the Law Company, I started my own company for about 5 years. That's when the Kansas State Construction Science Department recommended me to a Kansas City contractor to put together the station's casino project, which now you guys know as the Ameristar. This was a major turning point in my construction career. I took on the challenge and I produced conceptual estimates and landed a $100 million contract. Then it was my job to manage the design and construction budgets for the project. 2 years later, once the station's project was completed, I was hired as the vice president of the nation's 4th largest specialty contractor to manage specialty theming projects. 9 months later, I was moving to Las Vegas with a contract in my hand for the Venetian. My job there was to take the concrete, the structural steel, design and construct Venice. After the Venetian, it was on to the Wind Tower and several other major projects. My wife and I opened a company in partnership with the Nevada Prison Industries, where I was able to train and employ inmates to manufacture parts for the construction industry. They in turn received normal pay and benefits and created a nest egg for them when they left prison. We were able to issue reference letters and help place inmates in jobs after prison. This was an extremely successful partnership for 12 years, with only 3 of our inmates returning to prison. Well, then I retired and I moved to Grandview, where I met Mayor Jones working out at the View every morning at 5:15. He convinced me to serve on the City Planning Commission. There I worked with the planning department, and then we would review requests for zoning changes, etc. things. After our approval, they would be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen for final approval. So why am I running for alderman? Well, Sandy Kissinger, prior to her announcement she was stepping down, approached me with the idea to take her seat. Then I met with the mayor to discuss the idea, and he strongly agreed. After careful consideration, I registered to run, knowing that my background in large project management and working with the planning department and other individuals in the city made me the perfect candidate. I figured out in life it's not who you know, but what you know. To tackle the job, I needed to research and learn what I needed to know to be alderman. You as voters need to know that after registering in December, I am the only Ward 1 alderman candidate to attend every alderman meeting. and to attend every alderman work session. This has prepared me and given me the knowledge to take my seat on the board and go to work on day one. I would like to continue working on the city's issues. Through the Planning Commission, I've been working with the Planning Department on a revised 10-year comprehensive plan for the city. This new 10-year plan is crucial to managing the city's tax dollars for future development and infrastructure. My election to the board will allow me to help approve and implement this plan. When you go to vote on the ballot, there's a renewal of the transportation tax. This is not a new tax. We are paying it now. This tax, along with government grants, fills those potholes we've all grown to love and put toppings on our streets. But the renewal of this tax is essential to the success of the new comprehensive plan and paves the way for more government grants. Please vote for it. I strongly feel that Grandview is a growing city with great management. I hope to join that team and make Grandview grand in the future. Grandview is a city that should make each of you proud. Please get out and vote with pride for Tom McBride, Alderman 1. Thank you.
Thank you both. I should have mentioned before that Debbie and Tom are running for one seat in Ward 1. So there's one open position. We have 2 candidates for that. Thank you, Debbie and Tom, both of you. We will move on to Ward 2, where we have one open seat available as well. And for Ward 2, we will begin with Kaylee Bybee.
Thank you, Mary. Good evening. I am Kaylee Bybee. I am running for alderman for Ward 2. I have lived in Grandview for about 20 years. I was raised in Olathe, Kansas. My husband's family has lived in Grandview since 1958. I have been a stay-at-home mom to 3 children. All have either graduated or attended Grandview C4 schools. I would like the opportunity to serve my community and my city to help it grow. I am not running for any one person or for a group with a special interest, and if elected, I will serve the whole 2 years. I will serve the community. If elected as alderman, one of my priorities would be to fill the old Sam's Club building and the old Red X building. It's been new construction is great, but these 2 buildings sitting vacant for a number of years in sight of 71 highway hurts our city's forward momentum. They do not help reshape or re-identify Grandview. I would love to see, and so would some residents I have talked to, a Costco in either of those locations. And now with 2 vacant restaurants in Truman Marketplace, the need to fill all of these locations are highly visible to people is very important. I am sure that other aldermen would be willing to collaborate on this issue. The board's recent decision on the access roads being converted back to 2-way is one that I am concerned with. I would have to be convinced that Grandview would reap the huge benefits from this. Plus, we would have the added expense of maintaining these roads. They would not be the state's roads to maintain, from what I have been told. The gun range, I support it. Hopefully, they'll do a better research on making it quiet before they spend any more money on it. One thing the board could do tomorrow to improve Grandview is get another grocery store in the middle or south side of the city. There are quite a few residents that would love to see a Chick-fil-A. Also, reduce the number of homeless living in the parks and other wooded areas in the city so residents feel safe. I support the renewal of this half-cent transportation sales tax. I believe that It is needed to help in the maintenance, construction, reconstruction, and repair of our streets. Thank you for your vote and support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. Our next candidate for Ward 2 Alderman is Bud Day. Bud, you're on mute. If you can unmute yourself. There you go. We hear you now.
Got it? I'm Bud Day. I moved to Grandview when I was 3 years old in 1955. I'm a graduate of Grandview High School and a graduate of Manhattan Area Vocational Technical School. I studied heating, ventilating, air conditioning, and refrigeration. That led me into data center support equipment, HVAC, UPS systems, generator backup. Then I transferred into facility management and maintenance. Most of my career was with a Fortune 500 company in data center support. Then I accepted a position with the city of Des Moines, Iowa in the aviation department. Now I'm retired or facility superintendent from the airport. I've been to Washington, D.C. to sit on roundtables on the government-sponsored energy programs. I'm trained in energy management, FEMA training, incident command systems, national incident management systems, occupational safety and health training. I'm a retired facility superintendent and married, father of 2. I have 4 bonus kids, and I'm a granddad to 10. Our children are mostly in the fields of healthcare, military, coaching, firefighter, EMT. I'm a Grandview homeowner of 46 years. I'm a Grandview resident of 50. I literally want to stop Grandview's revenue from heading south and east to Belton and Lee Summit. I bet few remember when Grandview had 4 grocery stores. I do. We had a movie theater, and we had more than 1 hardware store or home improvement store. The new gun range is top on my list, as well as a lot of people's list. The renewal of the half-cent transportation tax, I'm in favor of that also. And I've also been hearing about the fire district consolidation of several districts around here consolidating into one. And I want to really look into that. I like Grandview's workforce. I've watched them for years, cleaning streets, and I wish we would have done a better job on Main Street after we did all the work up there. It got to looking pretty bad last year, but it's looking better this year. The conversion of the outer roads back to their original state, I really think that's essential. I think companies have boilerplates that says we will not build on a one-way road. And I think if we get back to 2-way, we'll see more progress in retail and businesses. I will make common sense decisions, always weighing the pros and the cons with the best information and data at hand. And that's it.
Thank you, Bud. Before I introduce our next candidate, just a quick reminder, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature. If you don't know how to use that, if you kind of hover with your mouse on the bottom of your screen, you can hit chat and it'll pull up a chat box up in the over in the right-hand corner. So just wanted to throw that out there for you. Please feel free to submit questions anytime and we'll read those to the candidates after they are done introducing themselves. Our final candidate for Alderman Ward 2 is incumbent Annette Turnbaugh.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to start out with a thank you to Mary and Kim and Sharon and Kim for having this forum for us tonight, and to Mary for being our moderator. To get started, here we go. Growing up Grandview. My family started the Jackson County Advocate newspaper back in 1953 and sold it in 2005. I'm a 76 graduate of Grandview High School and spent 26 years working at the family business and have many years of service to our community. Basically was born into it. I've been a licensed Arabian horse judge for 40 years and a real estate agent with Keller Williams Southland Partners since 2015, and I'm a professional photographer since 2006. After my family sold the newspaper in 2005, I was employed by the Grandview Red X, working on marketing in their marketing department, helping the store connect with many organizations in Grandview. I sold advertising for Summit Publications and was instrumental in getting the city of Grandview its own cover for the Grandview Cass County Phone Directory from 2011 and 2018 when they chose to go another direction. Currently, I'm president of the Grandview Historical Society, secretary of the BFW 8100 Auxiliary, member of the Grandview Lions Club, Grandview Chamber of Commerce, and the Board of Aldermen liaison to the Zoning Board of Adjustments. I also spend many hours a week helping and volunteering for citizens and businesses with issues and needs. Excuse me. Through the years, I've been a member of the Grandview Area Chamber of Commerce and served on its board. I also served on the Grandview Downtown Preservation Commission as a board alderman liaison and the Grandview Parks and Recreation Commission. I've been representing Ward 2 since 2010, and my background and knowledge of the city and the many years of service with connections to its residents and businesses makes me an asset that others don't have to offer. I wanted to bring up some of the issues as well. The transportation sales tax renewal. I too am in support of the half-cent transportation sales tax renewal. The projects identified in the half-cent transportation sales tax renewal are very important to Grandview's future and maintenance of our existing street and sidewalks. This is not a new tax. It's a continuation of an existing tax that has and will be essential for Grandview to maintain its street and sidewalks. MoDOT and the access roads. I will continue to work on ensuring the implementation on the one-way roads to two-way. This is a major project for the Grandview community and has long-lasting results for the businesses and residents. I'm proud to presently be part of a team who is working diligently building tomorrow's community. This will not change. We are Grandview, and it is a commitment to us. On the gun range. I know the gun range has been a big concern for many residents and businesses since its opening in September of 2019. When we were notified by constituents, we listened and took immediate action, and the range was shut down. Chief Eisman, as well as City Administrator Jamal Gungor and our Communications Coordinator Valerie Poindexter, made the mayor and board aware of the concerns. BOA members were also contacted. The decision of the location to be placed on the ball field was made by the voters in 2014's special bond election. Question number 2 was for $4.3 million for public safety projects. One of 6 projects to be funded, which was the $750,000 shooting range project. All 6 projects were approved by the voters by a 77% yes vote. We have worked diligently since then to find corrective measures to fix the issues at the gun range. Although there have never been many ideas, or although there have been many ideas as to how to go about doing this, tearing it down or moving it is not an option because the voters approved it for that location. Many hours of research have gone into what the majority of the board feel will address and correct this issue. In closing, I hope the community's goal as we are reopening in phases to be kind, helpful to those neighbors who are in need of some assistance, whether it be helping to haul off limbs, leaves, etc., when we are able to reschedule the postponed cleanup. Checking in for a quick chat by phone or in person with a mask on, as folks have been isolated for the last 2 months and are in need of social contact to make for less lonely days. We are Grandview. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. We will move on to Ward 3, which has 2 candidates for 1 position. I do not see candidate Ron Brownlee, so we will move to incumbent James Crane.
Jim's on mute.
Jim, you're on mute if you want to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you are. We got you.
Good evening, everybody. Mary and Chamber, thank you for putting on this forum tonight.
Welcome.
As introduced, my name is Jim Crane. I'm 74 years old and have lived in Grandview. My parents moved here in 1947. So I've been a member of Grandview for 72 years. I graduated from Grandview High School in 1963, from William Jewell College in 1967 with a Bachelor of Arts degree with a major in sociology and a minor in psychology, and from UMKC with the Master's of Business Administration degree in 1978. Emphasis was in accounting and organizational behavior. I have two daughters, Lori and Tara, both graduated from Grandview, and I'm very proud of my two grandsons who are both Eagle Scouts, and our three granddaughters, which include a set of identical twin girls. I attend with my family the Martin City Baptist Church. I was an infantry officer in the United States Army and served one tour in Vietnam. I was on the Commandant's list, the top 10% graduation from Officers Candidate School, the top honor graduate from the Chemical, Biological, and Radiological School, and jungle expert from the Jungle Warfare School in Panama Canal Zone. I earned several marksmanship awards, the Combat Infantryman's Badge, Air Medal for meritorious combat air assaults, and several distinguished unit citations. I worked at Hallmark Cards for 34 years in several departments, such as costing, scheduling, inventory control, and I retired in December of 2004 with my last position being operations manager in Hallmark Business Expressions. Some of my accomplishments and involvements include, I am an Eagle Scout with 3 palms, warrior in the tribe of Mickasay, a member of Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity, Grandview Alderman for 40 years, Grandview Parks and Recreation Commissioner for 40 years. I was on the Community Center Steering Committee. I served the Missouri Municipal League Westgate Division as Secretary, Vice President, and President. I am on the National League of Cities Policy member for 33 years and on the Transportation and Infrastructure Steering Committee for 19 years. I serve on the Grandview Youth Court Board of Directors and Treasurer for 30 years. I'm a lifetime member of Disabled American Veterans and a lifetime member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I am involved with the Grandview Assistance Program for several years, serving as volunteer, secretary, and currently as treasurer. As for some of the issues, I totally support converting the outer roads back to two-way. I agree with an earlier statement that a lot of companies have told us they will not locate on a one-way street because it's just too hard for people to get around and find their business. I also have supported trying to quiet the gun range to at least, if not better, noise levels of our old range. I totally support the transportation sales tax renewal. We've had it on the ballot for quite a few years now, and it's the only way that we can keep our streets in as good a condition as most of them are. I ask that you continue to support me and allow me to continue being a public servant. There's still plenty to do, plenty to learn, and plenty to have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Okay, we will move on to our question and answer portion of the evening. I do have some that have been submitted, a few that were submitted before the forum started, and then we'll go through the chat questions as well. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions. Kimberly will also be keeping track of your time for this, so kind of keep an eye on her box. You can see her there, and she'll hold up a sign when you're getting close. So we will just go ahead and start with the questions. Bear with me, I'm doing my phone and then the chat and everything else. So the first question is specifically for Debbie Bibbs. Why were you unable to fulfill your first term as alderman, and why do you want to run again? If you can unmute yourself, Debbie.
Unmute myself.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. I what what happened was at the time I didn't realize that I was experiencing side effects from some medication that I was on. All I knew is that I was experiencing episodes of anxiety and real anxious at times. And I contributed to being overwhelmed with a lot of things that I was doing at the time. When I was on the board, I was attending a lot of meetings and involved in a lot of things, a lot of activities that I was going to help me be better informed and to help me network with others, that I could be a better alderman and serve the community better. So later on, I kept experiencing these episodes, and so I didn't really know what was going on. Just like I said, I thought I was overwhelmed with everything that was coming my way. And so I decided to talk with my family, and I decided that I needed to take time to find out exactly what was going on with me. So that's what I did. So I made a tough, hard decision and to step down so I could take the time to see what was going on with my health. And the reason why I want to run again is I want to have the opportunity to fulfill some of the dreams and goals that I have for Grandview. And I enjoy serving. Just like I said, I believe that this is my calling, and I've been very busy and active in the community. And I just want to continue serving the citizens of Grandview.
Okay, we're gonna have to stop you there. Okay, on to our next question. This one is for Annette Turnbaugh. What is your priority since you are running for 2 offices, both alderman and a House representative? Why run for alderman since you would have to resign the seat in the event you won the House seat?
Well, for starters, we don't know that I've won yet. Therefore, my priority, of course, is my alderman seat. As you have heard, we have a lot going on in town right now, and I would like to see some of this stuff come to fruition in my time. If by chance I were to win the state representative seat, which yes, I will be, I have been very transparent about that. I was brought to me in December and asked if I would consider running due to many factors, one being name recognition and needing somebody in Jeff City as State Representative Joe Runyons has termed out. I agreed to do that. But again, my priority at this time is the Board of Aldermen and seeing us through the year. There is a process, if in fact I win that state representative seat, that the board has a process to replace me at that point for the following year in hopes that whomever would do that will obviously run then again in 2022 when the term comes up. Running for state representative, if it happens, my plan is to do everything we've been doing here in Grandview, protecting the rights of the people of Grandview. 90% of the vote going into the state representative race is 90% Grandview. And with my tenure on the board, I'm hoping that that will be something. But at this point in time, my priority is the city and the people of the city, and the state representative race isn't until later in the summer anyway.
Thank you, Annette.
Well,
Let me scroll up here. Gun range has been a hot topic, as you all know. We have a question about why did the current alderman vote to keep the gun range at the old ballpark a few blocks from downtown, clearly creating a serious noise problem for many people in the immediate neighborhood. If new solutions to fix the problem and quiet the noise do not work, what will everyone here tonight do? I'm going to kind of go backwards, and we'll let Jim Crane start this conversation. Each of you has 2 minutes to respond.
Okay, first of all, there's no other land large enough within our city limits to move the gun range, nor could we afford to move the gun range. The voters approved it being built right where it is, so that's where it has to stay. If the current 5 items that we are doing to insulate the sound do not work, we have made the commitment that we will keep searching for ways to make the sound levels either the same or hopefully a little less noisy than the previous gun range, which is only about 50 yards away.
Thank you, Jim. We'll go to Annette. Unmute yourself, Annette.
Popped up and said that.
There you are. Start over.
Yeah, following Jim's lead on that, yes, that's the plan. And as I've said, it's a priority to me as well. I'm a real estate agent over and above being an alderman. And so quiet enjoyment for the residents that live over there is huge. And it's a priority, not only for myself, but for the rest of the members of the board right now in making sure we get this right. And we will go to whatever ends it takes to make that level, as Jim put it, equal to and preferably less than what it is right now. And they're working on it as we speak. So that's it.
Thank you. We'll move on to Bud Day.
On the gun range, I live 2,500 feet from it through the woods, and it sounds very loud at my house. I think when we voted on it, and I voted for it, I don't know if the wording or what, but I just don't understand why a gun range was built on the same, on the same elevation as that ballpark within 400 or 500 feet of residents' houses. The old gun range, the way I understand it, is a little below elevation, and it has softer walls on it, which is, I think, railroad ties and a dirt berm. And I think that's sound absorbing, and you walk up and look at that, and you have hard surfaces. In my career, I did a little on sound issues, and the first time I seen that, I wondered, how did anybody vote for this? The common sense tells me you can't build something above ground at that elevation with hard surfaces and then read on paper how quiet it's going to be. I think the old gun range was used about 36 days a year. The new gun range, the way I understand it, it's going to be open about 170 days a year. I don't think the residents there, because they put up with the old one, and I think there was some assumptions made that they'll put up with the new one for 170 days of noise instead of 36 days of noise. So I'm opposed to it, just opposed. That's it.
Thank you, Bud. We'll move on to Kaylee Bybee.
Hi. Well, it was voted for where it's at. I think it just needs to have better sound control. A lot of people want to go up there and shoot, from what I've been told. That's it.
Thank you, Kaylee. We will move on to Tom McBride.
Thank you, Mary. I got into the issue with the gun range a little late. They were already making designs on how to improve the sound control. I went to a seminar they had at the View that showed a lot of the products that they were going to use to do the sound control and how they were going to be applied. So, and I know that we've issued a contract to do that work, and that work is in progress. And actually, at this point, you know, the only thing we can do is see what it does when it's done, you know, what it sounds like, what's going on. I think it's a good program that we've entered into there. There may be possibilities for other ideas down the road if necessary. So, you know, it's something that we're going to have to deal with and make the best of, and hopefully we can make it something that's acceptable to the residents in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And we will move on to Debbie Bibbs.
With the neighbors that live around there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can sympathize with the neighbors that live around there. And I can, I understand both sides, the city side point of view and the neighbors. And I know that the city's in the process of making some changes. So I really want to wait to see how the changes work out and see if the neighbors, if they're okay with the changes. So right now, I'm just kind of waiting to see what the changes are to make a decision on exactly which direction I want to go in.
All right, thank you. On to our next question. What are your views on the Parks and Rec department, and do you attend any Parks and Rec events? We're going to start with Ward 2 for this, so we'll start with Kaylee Bybee.
Yeah, I love going to all the concerts in the amphitheater. Kids love going to the park. I think Parks and Recs is doing a great job. Yeah, but just, I think my main concern would be the homeless living in the parks. I think it scares a lot of residents. So I think that needs to be taken care of. That's it.
Thank you, Kaylee. We will move on to Bud Day.
I enjoy the parks. We take the grandkids. All of our kids are grown now. We take the grandkids there when they're in town. But I'm concerned that we don't have a swimming pool, that the swimming pools is closed down. I mean, we got the one at the View, but I think you have to pay to get into the View to get into the pool. So if you was a parent or grandparent taking your child or grandchild to the swim, the adult's going to have to pay an admission to watch their child or grandchild swim. And I'm not sure if I agree with that. But I do like the parks. That's it.
Thank you, Bud. Moving on to Annette Turnbaugh.
Yeah, of course, the amphitheater, the you know, having been a part of making sure that these parks were developed in a fashion that they would be well used by the community. I, of course, don't have any kids, nor a dog, so I'm not able to use the dog park and don't have any children to take to them, but I have cousins with nieces that when they come to town, of course, I take them to all of our parks so that the kids can participate. I think we've done a fabulous job with the bond money that we had back in 2008. Obviously, Valley Park with our 55-foot slide coming from Germany that nobody else in the country has, and the splash parks. I'll be really anxious once we can get, you know, the splash park over at the View open, because from the signs of the short soft open we had, it's going to be very successful. So again, I participate with concerts, you know, counting and welcoming people as Board of Aldermen go over and do that when we have concerts and movies and all the other type of things that are participated in those parks. And I take great pride as being a member of helping to bring a lot of those really fancy parks so that all those people in Kansas and their license plates at John Anderson even are participating in our parks. That's it, Kim.
Thank you. We will hop on over to Ward 3, Jim Crane.
Yes, I think the first part of the question was, do you attend meetings? As I mentioned in my intro, I am the board liaison to the Parks and Recreation Commission. So naturally, I attend all of the meetings. As far as volunteering, park commissioners are expected to volunteer to as many of the events as possible. And our Parks and Recreation Department has about one special event each month. We have a world-class park system. I don't think you can find a park system anywhere in the Midwest that will outdo ours. And as Annette mentioned, we do have one park, Valley Park, that there is nothing like that park in the entire North American continent. So we are especially proud of that. That's it, Kim.
All right, we will move over to Ward 1, Debbie Bibbs.
I think Parks and Recs is doing a fabulous job. I attend the events there, especially the concerts, and I just want to give kudos to Parks and Recs and the staff and Sue for doing a great job. I think it's beautiful when I drive down that way or when I'm walking with a friend, and I just think they're doing a great job.
Thank you, Debbie. And Tom McBride.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. I feel that Grandview's parks are second to none. I know that my grandchildren love the rope parks and the rope climbs. We've had great times there. If there's anything that the Parks Department has come short on, is there's a few of their projects that stand a little incomplete at this point, and a couple of things that need to be cleaned up. Maybe some of those are coordination with the Public Works Department. I'm not sure. I've actually visited with Dennis about a couple of things, and he assures me that they're on his list. I don't think Santa's bringing it, but it's on his list. So, but for all in all, the people in the Parks Department, I know they work hard and do a really good job, and they've gotten a lot of recognition for what a great job they have done with some of the parks here. And I fully support them and hope that they continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Speaking of Santa, we can tell our kids that Santa had coronavirus, right? All right, moving on to our next question. We have a couple repeat questions, so I won't read, they're worded a little differently, but if the candidates want to respond to those people individually, we can get you their information later. Let me scroll here. What do you see as an opportunity for improvement in your ward? Let's see, I started in Ward 2 last time. Let's start with Jim Crane.
Continue to hound the developers of our promised soccer complex. And further development of the Highway 150 corridor, according to the plan, the study that we've had done, how that should be developed to the best for all citizens in our community. That's all, Kim.
Thank you, Jim. We will move on to Debbie Bibbs.
Trash. The trash, the litter. That's a big concern, a big problem. Ward 1.
Thank you. We will move on to Tom McBride.
Thank you. Ward 1, the entire western border of Ward 1 is the new two-way improvement of the frontage road project. We need to pay a lot of attention to businesses that need to go in places like that. I'm not sure of the full extent of that development along the corridor, but that's going to take a lot of attention, not only by the aldermen, but by engineering and staff and everyone to get the right kind of businesses located, to utilize that to their fullest extent. And hopefully in development of that frontage road, we're going to cure some of the eyesores that I see in landscape maintenance and things of that nature that there needs to be some attention to. So I'm all for getting out there and helping to work with it and do some infill development. I'm understanding that the comprehensive plan that we're putting together may make it simpler for some individuals to do infill development and make it easier for them to do that, which is important to bring in more tax dollars, of course. So there we go. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. We will move on to Kaylee Bybee.
Like I said earlier, mine would be Red X and the old Sam's Club and the 2 restaurants that are no longer there. We need to bring business back to Grandview. And that's it.
Great. Thank you. Let me see who's next. Bud Day.
Vacant buildings and would get more retail businesses back in, and just the overall aesthetics. As I drive around, there's just some places that just look bad. There's still streets without curbs on them, and I wonder why. And there's a parking issue on Main Street that I think is going to start after talking to some business owners up there on Main Street with the cars parked there for 2 or 3 days at a time, and the business is trying to operate. So, but like Kaylee said, the two big buildings, the old Sam's Club and the old Red X, something needs to be done with those 2 buildings as soon as possible. That's all.
Thank you. And finally, Annette.
Unmute myself here. Can you hear me, Mary? Yeah, I was around in 1978 when the 2 ways went to 1 way. And the town fell apart with the businesses that were on both the east and west corridors when that happened. When referring to things in our ward, of course, the 2 ways going to help. When referring to the Sam's Club building, we have to, people need to understand Sam's Club is not a part of the TIF that goes on up there at Truman Corners, as well as it is owned by Sam's in Bentonville, and nothing can be done. We don't have a choice as to that vacant building or what to do with it. We have tried. Jamal and our EDC folks passed, and we will have someone new with EDC coming on board, have tried and will continue to try to find some way to fill that building. But the end result is it is owned by Sam's Club Bentonville, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. As far as the Kmart building, we had an opportunity with the medical marijuana that we could have rezoned, and that could have been an active building generating retail sales taxes, but it got voted down. Therefore, that didn't happen. I agree 100% about the businesses and the vacant buildings in town. And I'm hoping with our new EDC person on board and Jamal, who works his magic, that we will be able to bring in some new businesses, and hopefully the 2-way conversion will help us do that much easier than it has been in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to kind of jump down here real quick, as I did have a kind of a follow-up question to that same question for Debbie and how she responded. So Kimberly, can we put 30 seconds for these for an additional response? Okay, Debbie, how much time do you spend organizing groups to help clean up the community now?
Now, I say maybe quarterly, every 3 months. I form groups, neighbors in my home association, and we would do like what I call project cleanup. And I've even contacted the city and gotten trash bags and the little what do you call the sticks that you pick up the trash with, the little pickup sticks. And the city has furnished that for us. And we go out quarterly, every 3 months, and go around the community, the neighborhood, especially my home association. But we brand.
All right, they cut you off after 30 seconds. So we're gonna move on to this one specific to Jim Crane. Do you think term limits are ever appropriate?
Yeah, in fact, I think I have a term limit every 2 years when I run for re-election. That's it.
Okay. All right, let me scroll here. The view expansion at the community center was promoted as being for a senior citizen in the morning and youth in the afternoons when the bond was being presented. It seems the focus now is to use it for equipment. With the citizens voting basically for a senior center, how do you feel that is going to be utilized for something else now, other than what the citizens wanted or thought they were approving? Kind of ad-lib there a little bit. We will start with Bud Day on this question.
Am I on? Okay. I think what is voted on should be what is put in, and not a change in venue. I think we had trouble, or there's trouble with the pool over there. I think the scope changed on it also at the View, and I read where the equipment is now more in the limelight than the original specs that was put in for that expansion. So I think we ought to stay closer to what was voted on. That's all.
Thank you, Bud. Annette Turnbaugh.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. However, the priority with membership over there is you have a lot of folks that use a lot of that equipment, and part of the problem was space. And the decision was made to go with what was generating revenues for the View, which was to be able to expand. I believe the senior portion of that will still be in forward motion for something to happen down the road, but for the time right now, they need it desperately because they were busting at the seams with the small area that they had, with the equipment, needing equipment to be updated and utilized as requested per the membership. I'm all about the seniors. I'm hoping that and for our teenagers, we can work something out for them to be able to have a place. But I think priority wound up needing to be worked first, which Alderman Crane can speak better to than I, as he's knee-deep involved in the daily what's going on with the View Community Center and some of the decisions that are made by being on that board as well. Thank you.
Kaylee Bybee.
Well, I think if it was voted for the senior citizens, I think it should be for the senior citizens. And I don't know. That's the way it looks like it.
Thank you. Jim Crane.
Recall that the vote was taken many years ago, and as we can only do a couple of projects a year, the expansion ended up being one of the last projects. In the meantime, I think attitudes had changed. The staff went to great lengths to take current polling of all the membership. We had a poll on our website. They put it on all of the social media, which I don't understand that stuff. But anyway, the current people were saying, this is what we need at this point in time. And, you know, that we even had some members say, I'm not going to keep using the equipment because my nose is almost in somebody else's armpit. And we had to be able to spread the equipment out. Also, the heavy weights, when they would drop them, they were actually on the second floor, and we're lucky we don't have concrete damage with weights coming through into the gym or into the pool area, because the heavy weights is above the pool area. That's it, Kim.
All right, Tom McBride.
Well, I'm not familiar with the issue that it was voted on, but I would think it would be appropriate. And it sounds like that the aldermen have done a good job of canvassing not only the people that participate there, but putting it out for the public to make comment on. And it should have probably, I don't know that it wasn't, trust me, been amended by the Board of Aldermen and opened up for discussion, public discussion before it was done. But I think the issue at hand has probably panned out to be the smart usage for the space, depending upon the possibility of damage to the structure with the heavy weights like Jim was talking about, and use of that square footage in any purpose. It's a difficult issue like that when something's voted on, but like you said, it was years ago. We all need to be smarter in how we make changes to the public's vote. Okay. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Finally, Debbie Bids.
When there's an issue that's voted on, we have to really be sensitive that when that is carried out. But I do realize that as time goes on, you are going to have to make changes to whatever the issue is, whatever the concern is. So that's just my feeling on it. My feelings on it.
Thank you. This one is specific to Bud Day. It says, Mr. Day, you seem negative about a lot of things. What do you like about Grandview?
Well, I've been here for about 50 years of my life, so there must be something good. I smile on the inside. That's what I tell people. I'm a happy, I'm a jovial, I'm a humorous guy. But you have to know me to see it. I like Grandview. I've been here since I was 3. I think I used to call my neighborhood the forgotten neighborhood. I think we were the last to get about anything. But then again, it's kind of hidden over here within the commercial industry district, and I kind of like it now in my older age. But if I didn't like Grandview, I wouldn't be living here. And I just want to make it better. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Our next question is about crime. So if each of you wants to give, your responses on your thoughts on crime, because that's all it says is crime. So we'll start with Debbie Bibb.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm really I'm trying to decide how I want to put this in words. I feel like that Grandview has done pretty good for us crime, our police department. We don't really have a high crime rate in Grandview, so I'm pretty happy with that. I am concerned about the crime that we have been having, and I feel like our police department has gotten a pretty good handle on the crime in Grandview, and I feel pretty safe walking around in Grandview in my neighborhood and the community. So for the most part, I'm thankful that our crime rate is not way up there like Kansas City is.
Thank you, Debbie. Tom McBride?
Thanks, Mary. Crime in Grandview is like crime in any city. It's always an issue. I think our police department is well-trained and they continue to train, and they have great ideas on trying to hold back the crime that's going on in Grandview. I don't know all of the issues about what they're looking into and working on, but trust me, I know those people over there are doing a fine job and should be commended on making Grandview safe. And like any other city, we could always be safer, and hopefully we will find a way in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Kaylee Bybee?
Well, I think the crime has gone down. The police department's doing a great job protecting us. That's it.
Bud Day?
Am I still on?
Yes.
Well, being a grandfather of 10, I seem to have to take subscriptions to local newspapers. I think the mailman likes me. He brings me, let's see, 4 or 5 community papers a week. That way I can find out if my grandchildren made honor roll, principal's honor roll, National Honor Society, or the sports page. In all of those papers, there's police reports, fire EMT reports, and I was amazed. Grandview's is the least of the surrounding areas in those papers, which I'm happy. That's it.
So what you're saying is one of those papers is mine.
One's yours, and there's like 4 others, and there's just. I was surprised after looking at all that, and then thinking that we live in a safe area than those
Absolutely.
places.
Thank you, Bud. Annette?
Okay, we unmute. I just went blank. What was our question? I literally just went blank.
We're talking about crime.
Crime. You know, I tell you, right now, the only conversation about crime is the fact that God bless and protect our Grandview PD, because with this 2 months of quarantine, domestic violence is through the roof. They've handled it well. We do, as everyone has stated that's spoken so far, have a low crime rate. Charlie has done a magnificent job bringing in new people. We have more staffing as far as police officers go. Of course, we have a lot of people that I'm receiving phone calls that they're hiding in the bushes and on the highways. And of course, if you all have seen where they're, stopping people going 129 miles an hour and 94 miles an hour and so on and so forth, they're protecting us. They're protecting our town. And, we have a low crime rate because they are staying on top of stuff. And I can't say any greater things that I'm very proud of our Grandview PD and how they handle things in the community and keep us as crime-free as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Jim Crane.
As has been previously stated, Grandview's crime rate is basically down. We are seeing an increase, just like Kansas City is, during this stay-at-home order, an increase in child abuse as well as spousal abuse. I think our officers are handling it as best they can. With the voters' approval, the public safety sales tax that was approved has allowed us to improve both of our public safety departments, the police department as well as the fire department. And I think all of them given the circumstances of being first responders, I think they're doing a bang-up job of keeping our crime as low as it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a few questions left that have been submitted. I'm going to put the time limit on there now, though, and say we will not be taking any more questions at this time, because I want to provide an opportunity for everyone to kind of have some closing thoughts at the end, maybe about a minute for that. So let me find, there's one specific to Annette again. If elected to both city council and state representative, will you support one of the other two candidates as your replacement instead of someone not currently on the ballot?
Actually, it is out of my hands as to who would be filling my position. The board has best practices whereby an RFP is sent out for those, including if one of the other candidates were interested in taking the back half of my second year if elected. But the RFP is for the candidates interested. They submit their resume, their reasoning for wanting to be on the board of aldermen and the mayor and the city administrator. I'll interview all candidates, and then a decision is made actually by the board, not me specific, as to who they feel would be the best replacement to fill that second year, if in fact I win the state representative race in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Annette. What is everyone's position on the Airbnb tax issue? We're going to start with Ward 3, Jim Crane.
This issue was brought forth as a discussion item at one of our recent work sessions, and we're trying to do some investigation as to what surrounding communities are doing. Right now, we have a hotel motel tax of, I believe it's 3%, but we don't have a way to tax Airbnbs. In fact, we don't really know a whole lot about how many there are in town, that type of stuff. So the board is just now starting to educate itself and formulate a position. And since we're just beginning the process, I really don't have a position at this point.
Thank you, Jim. We'll move on to Ward 1, Debbie Bibbs.
Information about this, so I really can't give a direction one way or the other. I need more information.
Thank you. Tom McBride.
Thanks. I fully feel like that Airbnb is a commercial operation. They should have a commercial license like any other business, and they should register and therefore be taxed like any other motel. So I don't know what separates them at this point from that, but they are in it for a profit, and they are a business, and they should have a commercial license to do it. Period.
Thank you. Kaylee Bybee.
Well, there's 4 places in Missouri that collects taxes, and it's called a transit guest tax. Independence, St. Joe, St. Louis, one other place has it. So I think it should be something to consider. That's it.
Thank you. Bud Day.
I think it should be regulated. I just don't think people should be able to pop one up right next door to you without you even literally knowing that it's an Airbnb. I just think it ought to be regulated, and if other cities are doing it, we ought to look into it and see what we can do to get more control over it. That's it.
Thank you. Annette Turnbach.
So, can you hear me now, Mary? Okay. Bouncing off what Alderman Crane said, yes, it's recently come to our attention in conversation, and we are researching right now to see what other communities are doing. Not that we disagree, because we're, of course, in progress now of researching and finding out how other communities do handle this, so that we'll know the direction to go in implementation when we have this information as to how we can go about doing it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did I get you all on that? I think so. Okay. Our final question before you all have an opportunity for your final thoughts is, if elected alderman, how would you engage with the residents you serve? And I'm going to start with Tom McBride.
Thank you. That's a good question. I need to really consider that, because they are the people that will put me in that office. I'd like to go around and give them all some ribs and barbecue. I know that that's not going to happen. So there's going to be instances where we can hold meetings or get-togethers somewhere in the ward to talk to them and have them raise their questions and thoughts about how things are going. And I hope to be able to work those into my tenure. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie.
And I love going to events. So I love going to home association picnics, block parties, and I love socializing and meeting my neighbors. So that's a way that I can reach out to my neighbors and get to know them and talk with them, and also find out what their concerns that they may have involving the city, and things that they would like to see improved, and things that they would like to see done different. So that's my way. And then when I'm out walking, I run into a lot of my neighbors, and that way as well. So basically, having events I love to have, and just going to events, different activities, different events throughout the city.
Thank you. Annette Turnbaugh.
Yeah, I actually stay pretty involved and pretty visible, working with several of the different organizations in town that I'm involved with, as well as trying to recruit constantly new people, new homeowners, to help get involved with some of these organizations, getting them involved. Of course, we obviously with Corona, we're not able to have the Citizens Academy, and I'm forever speaking to people about participating in the Citizens Academy to better understand how the workings of the city are and where they are desperately needed on boards and commissions. And we have all these organizations that are in desperate need of new membership in order to move forward and help them continue to go. Some of these folks are starting to get a little bit of age on them, and God bless them. They've, some of them been 50 years in these organizations, and they need some help. And so I try on a daily basis actually recruiting people to some of the different avenues and organizations that we have that are needing help.
I'm gonna go backtrack a little bit. Jim Crane.
In Ward 3, we have only one active homes association, and I attend those meetings when I'm available. My primary methods of communicating are, in all of my years, I have never failed to answer an email or a phone call. My goal is to answer emails and phone calls within 24 hours, at least let the citizen know that I've received their complaint, their comment, their thank yous, and then I try within another 24 to 48 hours to get a response to them. So that's basically my method of communicating. That's it.
Thank you. Bud Day.
The community events, believe it or not, I like to talk. I don't seem to like to talk on the Zoom. But in my 46-year career, I had to please people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My phone, I run shifts 24/7, 365. We were never closed on Easter. We were never closed on my anniversary. We were never closed on my wife's birthday. And I always carried a little tablet with me. Now I guess they have these things called smartphones where you can put notes in it. But I always carry a little 3-ring tablet in my pocket. When somebody asks me to do something, I write it down. I make sure they know that I wrote it down. That way I get back with them and they know that I have to get back with them. I just don't blow them off saying, yeah, I will. I'll look into that, or call me Monday. That doesn't work with me. My old job, it was 7 days a week. So I respond.
Thank you, Bud. Kaylee Bybee.
When I'm out and about, at the store, shopping, try and talk to people. If they have a question, I will try and answer it the best as I can. And if I cannot, I will find the answer for them and within 24 hours, definitely. So far, I've helped a couple of people with some stuff. But yeah, just emails, call me. I'll take care of it. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Kaylee. That kind of wraps up our question and answer portion. I think we have enough time, since we started maybe a few minutes late, to give everybody 2 minutes if they so choose to close everything out. Any last thoughts you might have? I will suggest that each of you maybe provide some sort of contact information if people have further questions or want to get in touch with you individually. If you want to leave a phone number or an email address, or however people can best get a hold of you, you might mention that too. If not that way, people are more than welcome to contact the chamber, or you can email me directly too, and I can help put you in touch with these folks as well. So we'll just go right down the list again, and we will start with Alderman Ward 1 candidates, starting with Debbie Bibbs.
I just want to say that I love serving. I love my community. I love the city of Grandview. I'm proud, very proud of the Grandview's revitalization of the Truman Marketplace. I am so, so proud of how it looks, and I'm just really proud. I've had a lot of friends come to Grandview, especially to the shopping center. So I'm really proud that we have it. I'm so glad we went in that direction. And I just want to serve. I love making a difference. I love doing things in my community. I have done for many years. And I ask that the citizens of Grandview in Ward 1, I ask for your vote on June the 2nd. If you would come out and vote for me, I will continue to work hard, not only for Ward 1, but for the city of Grandview. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 1 candidate, Tom McBride.
Thank you, Mary. You know, this evening we've had the opportunity to tell you, the people, about us, the candidates. And as far as I'm concerned, if you like what I'm telling you and you hear something that you like and you'd like to help me get elected, please get in touch with me. My phone number, 816-500-4337. If you'd like for me to come by and visit with you, I would be more than happy to. If you'd like for me to put a sign in your yard and help with my campaign, I am asking you to help me right now. Okay? Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you. Kaylee Bybee for Ward 2.
I would like the community to serve, the opportunity to serve my community and my city to help it grow. If you have any questions, you can contact me at kbybee80@gmail.com, or my phone number, 816-761-7841. Thank you.
Thank you. Bud Day.
All right. Well, I want every person my age to look back, to be able to look back and remember how great it was growing up in a town/city like Grandview, with things and activities to do in a safe environment. And if anybody wants to get hold of me, they can contact me at area code 816-761-6959. That used to be South 1 back in 1955.
Yeah.
Or they can contact me at bud7376 at the old thing, AOL.com. That's it.
Thank you, Bud. And our final candidate for Ward 2 is Annette Turnbull.
Growing up Grandview, living my life through the eyes of the newspaper, through the participation with community members and organizations, I really would like to continue doing this. If in fact the state representative situation works out in my favor in the fall, I will continue to represent Grandview down in Jeff City. But right now my priority is my people that I have been serving my entire life here in Grandview. And I really want to continue doing that and seeing some of these projects that we have, issues and otherwise, come to fruition this year. My contact information, of course, on Facebook, Annette Turnbaugh. My phone number, 816-806-1111, or I can be reached at Turnbaugh, there's the spelling, at grandview.org.
Thank you, Annette.
And thank you for your support. I request everybody's support, please, to let this happen. Thank you. Sorry, Mary.
That's okay, no problem. Thank you. Our final ward, Ward 3, we have 2 candidates for that. Ron Brownlee did not join us this evening, so I will turn it over to Jim Crane to finish up.
Yes, in final closing, I would like to remind everyone, I think the word is starting to get out that the Jackson County Election Board has decided in order to move the voting machines further apart for social distancing, Grandview is only going to have 2 polling places. And it's kind of confusing the way they've done it. But the 2 places are the Grandview High School and the View Community Center. For Ward 3, all of Ward 3 will be at the View. I would encourage everyone to stay far apart at the lines, wear a mask to protect yourself, to protect others. Please come out and vote for the transportation sales tax renewal. It's not a new tax. We're currently paying it. We're just continuing it for another 10 years to help us keep our streets the way we like to keep them. My contact information, my number is 816-765-0613. My email is jcrane, C-R-A-I-N, at grandview.org. Thank you, and I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you to all the candidates who joined us this evening and all of the attendees who watched. Just to remind you all, if you have any further questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to the candidates individually, or you may email the chamber at gmochamber@gmail.com, and they will help facilitate getting those questions to the correct individuals. I wanted to do a little shameless plug for the Jackson County Advocate while I have the floor. The entire ballot will be printed in this week's edition and in next week's edition. I also have questionnaires going in this week from the candidates as well. And we are also, as Jim Crane just mentioned, voting on the transportation sales tax renewal. And if Mayor Leonard Jones is still on the line, I'd like to provide him maybe just a minute to kind of give an update about what those funds will be used for, and then we will be finished.
Thank you, Mary. And once again, you know, we have the opportunity to do a renewal of the transportation sales tax, which is fantastic. You know, that's going to be used primarily for our streets in the city of Grandview. However, some of that's going to be utilized for the one-way transition to a two-way. So we've got a number of projects that's out there on grandview.org. You can find all of the information in there and on the website that we plan on utilizing the renewal of funds from the transportation sales tax on. So that is a very, very good location to go and see all those wonderful things. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. With that, just one more quick reminder, this was recorded or has been recorded. If you would like to share it, or if there's somebody that may have missed tonight's forum, it will be posted on the Grandview Chamber's Facebook page. And that is it. I hope you all have a great evening. Good luck to all of our candidates, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you for
Thank you,
being
Mary.
here.
Thank you. You all have a great night.
All right, thanks, Mary.
You too.
Mary.